The second key concept that is present in the novel is decolonization. Decolonization is the reverse process of colonization by which colonies become independent of the colonizing country. In its obvious manifestation, it is the transfer of power from the oppressor aliens to the indigenous and the aboriginals. In simple terms, decolonization is restoring the identity of the colonized people. The Napoleon v. Al-Azhar explored the ways the colonized reacted to the colonizers in order to bring back their liberty, freedom, and sovereignty of their land. The decolonization process is a long and complicated process. It takes many shapes and forms, but eventually it will end with the withdrawal of the colonialist force and the liberation of the colonized land and people. On the context of Napoleon in Al-Azhar or Napoleon v. Al-Azhar in the period of 1798 to 1801, the French invasion of Egypt is the account he provided. The French conquest of Egypt was the backdrop of this novel and the source of inspiration. Revolution is Hajj Mustafa's preparation to fight and attack the colonizer, which are the French troops. The protagonist Hajj Mustafa al-Bastili, a middle-class merchant who rebels and leads the second wave of confrontation in the French army. He sacrifices everything he owns for the sake of his country and people. The resistance against the French cost him his wealth, family, and ultimately his life when he was arrested and eventually murdered. The novel depicts a decolonization process because the Egyptians were once controlled and colonized by the Mamluks. They dominated and ruled the Egypt from 12th century. Even if the French troops that is headed by Napoleon Bonaparte enter the Egypt, their dominance still takes place. The ruling of Mamluk stops when the French armies demolish their thrones. After the rivalry happened between the French and the Mamluks, after a month, the French takes place the Egyptian capital, which is the Cairo. As you can see, the Egyptians were once free from the colonizing Mamluks, but they are still controlled by the French troops headed by Napoleon Bonaparte. Eventually, the French withdrawal came as a result of both internal and external factors. Internal factors were in the form of people's defiance and revolution, while the external factor was the consequence of the British-Ottoman alliance. In conclusion to all of this, Napoleon in Al-Azhar implies that Al-Kalani views the violence that is apparent in the colonization and decolonization
Created using Powtoon.